Hello, my name's Lydia Wakefield-Yeung. I'm the Associate Director for External Partnerships and Scholarships at London Business School. Prospective students should start thinking about funding for their MBA or their master's programs as soon as possible. This should be a real core part of your application preparation journey. Being organised, beginning your research of costs and projected outgoings, exploring different funding options and exploring what's available to you, as well as considering what your return on investment is going to look like, is really pivotal as part of that preparation journey. There are many different funding options when you're considering how you're going to finance your MBA or your master's program. So for example, you may want to consider a loan. These loans can be available from governments sometimes, but there are also many private option loans available, and may want to also consider, for example, loans from your bank. The interest rates and conditions do vary from provider to provider, so it's always really important that you check carefully before you take out any loans to consider your financial commitments. It's also worth considering, if you are an international student, that for visa purposes, loans often need to be obtained through regulated student loan schemes. So really do your research around those different loan options. Many different business schools will offer scholarships, and scholarships can be hugely valuable, not only from a financial perspective, but also adding prestige to your own recognition. Scholarships can be on the basis of merit, and that will often be what you have demonstrated throughout the admissions process. Business schools will also consider your financial need, and some will also consider support for candidates who may be from particular industries, from particular countries, and may also support students from underrepresented backgrounds. In some cases for scholarships, you'll automatically be considered, so you won't necessarily need to provide any additional information, so really maximise your programme application to ensure that you have the best opportunity. But for some scholarships, you may be required to submit additional information or submit a separate application form. Really ask each business school what their processes are. At London Business School, you're automatically considered for the majority of our scholarships, but we do have a few where you require that separate application. There are also different external grants and loans and funding options available. So do your research around what's available in your country, and explore different trusts, foundations, and organisations that may offer different funding routes for you. A lot of students will also be partially self-funded, so really think about saving and budgeting as soon as you can. Again, this comes back round to preparing as early as possible. And also then there is the option of being company sponsored. So speak with your organisation and explore whether they may be able to offer you financial support towards your degree programme. If you are looking for your company support, really consider in your business case what your value will be as a value add back into your organisation on completion of your degree programme. There are lots of different options to consider. So do consider all of the different options that are available rather than relying on one. And remember, it's very common for students to combine different funding options to maximise their available funds for their degree programme. There are lots of different things to consider when you are exploring your different funding options. For loans, as I mentioned previously, there is the potential that different loans will have different requirements, both in terms of how much you're able to borrow, but also those payback terms. And then with different scholarships, do consider which ones are going to be most supportive to you and most aligned with your experience and background. When you're considering your company sponsorship, really do have an in-depth conversation with your employer and explore what options are available. And with each of the different options for funding, it's worth considering what is your plan B. So if one of your funding options doesn't work out, what could be your alternatives? When considering your funding for your degree programme, really think about this very early on. You're not only thinking about what funding is available, but really consider your budget. So draw up a budget early on in your admissions journey, considering the cost of your tuition, the living costs for the city or town in which you're planning to live in. Consider if there are any travel arrangements that you'll need to consider. And if there are any other elements that you'd like to take advantage of with your degree programme that are perhaps beyond the scope of the tuition fees. And there may be very different versions of that budget, considering if you lived in a different area, whether you'll be living with other peers or whether you'll be living by yourself, and whether you're opting for additional seminars or completion timeframes. Be really open to multiple different funding sources and don't rely on just one. That will really help you to be most prepared. By starting considering what your budget looks like and what your costs and your outgoings will be, it will really help you with exploring your funding options and what funding tools will be most suitable for you. To find additional information about different funding options, at London Business School on our website, we have a funding tool that allows you to explore and narrow down your different funding options, particularly around scholarships and loans that are available. And we also have a funding page on our website that goes through the different aspects and different options that you have when exploring your funding. I'd really recommend that you speak to current students and alumni. They're the individuals that have been there and done that before. They've funded their MBA programs, they've funded their master's programs, and also they will be able to give you tips and tools on not only how to budget and prepare, but also what that looks like in the long term. And it's also important for you to consider what that return on investment looks like. Also have a great opportunity during your admissions journey. Take advantage of speaking with your admissions colleagues. They are there to help you. So have a conversation, explain your current circumstances, and they will be able to help to guide you towards different funding options and what might be available for you. At London Business School, we run regular events that allow you the opportunity to speak with our staff, our admissions colleagues, with our students and with our alumni. They provide a really valuable opportunity for you to ask the questions about funding. We also do sometimes run events specifically that relate to funding, and we also have a number of blogs and resources on our website that you can utilise to really explore what your funding options look like when preparing for your MBA or your master's programme. Every individual is very different. So when they're considering what their funding choices look like, they will often consider what resources are currently available to them, considering what their savings are, whether there are any opportunities for family support of funding, and then beyond that, they will explore what are those external funding options. By starting internally, you're able to look at what's available to you directly already, before then exploring what else you will need to fund your studies. I think that it's really important that if you're considering London Business School, you haven't necessarily explored your options yet, or you may consider that the tuition fees are too high a barrier to entry, then really consider what is that return on investment. What is it that you are looking for as an individual out of your MBA programme? If you consider that finance is a barrier, really speak to admissions colleagues and explore what funding options are available to you. Many of our students will be able to attest to the fact that there is a really strong return on investment. You are investing not only for the short term, but your long-term future as well. So it's important that you not only consider what your immediate return on investment looks like, but that long-term trajectory is really important. At London Business School, this isn't a short-term solution. We are with you all the way. When you're considering an MBA program, it's really important that you consider what is that return on investment. And at London Business School, that return on investment is invaluable. Recognize that education in business is not only investment in you, it's an investment in your career, it's an investment in your future, rather than being a pure expense. So while sometimes then you may be exploring cheaper alternatives, consider really what program is going to help you not only now, but in the future, and what is it that you want to get out of that program. Really consider and research into the graduate outcomes of a business school's alumni, both recent and senior alumni. It's not simply a stepping stone into your first post-MBA role, but a catapult for your future with lifelong benefits. And that's what it gives you at London Business School. It's not simply a short-term solution, it's really for that lifelong trajectory. Always come back to and remember why you want to study an MBA or a master's program and what you're looking to gain at the end of that program. And if you feel, and hopefully you will, that London Business School is right for you, don't consider that finance as a barrier. There are options available for you to explore. There are funding tools available, and that trajectory and that long-term return on investment is hugely valuable, and we're excited to welcome you as alumni in future.